I'm planning to make a painting of a hazy beach at sunup, and this time I want to work from a relatively dark base color towards the lighter colors. I decide to use, from right to left, these four colors: Sèvres blue, phthalo blue, green umber, and titanium white. Sèvres blue is a wonderful soft blue. Maybe I'll use it again as a base color in the future, but in its pure form. A little bit of umber green to darken and desaturize the Sèvres. Oops, a little too much water. The color is still too saturated for my taste, and that's why I add a little bit of black, completely against my principles. Next, a hint of phthalo blue. And finally, titanium white. It's a bit of a guess exactly how dark or how light you make your base color. I'm curious how this is going to work out. I primed the paper with gesso and then taped the edges with masking tape. I also taped the horizon. Later, when I apply the first layer of oil paint, I will need the horizon as an orientation for the reflection of the sky in the water. The blow dryer to speed up the drying process, and then remove the masking tape. I start with a layer of brilliant yellow, vermilion red and titanium white, which I mirror below the horizon. Closer to the horizon, I'm adding violet gray to the mix. Above the pink layer comes the light blue of the sky, a mix of King's blue light, Scheveningen blue light and a little brilliant yellow. It's important when you use a certain mix above the horizon to do the mirrored part below the horizon right after it, just to make sure the colors are identical. I'm aware that in general, reflections tend to be darker than the reflected object, but that can always be helped in a later stage, for example with a darker glaze. I use my rag to bring out the shape of the row of dunes. And a strip of wet sand. A simple movement of my rag creates an illuminated strip on the horizon. And this is the state of affairs after an hour or two of painting. To get some relief in the dune, I paint a glaze over the blue underlayer with a mix of green umber, indigo and a lot of liquid. The color should not be too saturated. It would make the dune stand out too much. Hey look, here comes the sun. Because I'm curious what the painting would look like with an uninterrupted surface of water, I'm covering the strip of sand. I like it. A kind of vastness and tranquility arises. I think I'll leave it at that for now. I can always come back to it at a later stage. I decide to spice up the sun and its surroundings with a little color. The sun itself is done with cadmium yellow, vermilion red and a lot of titanium white. For the rings that surround it, I use proportionately less titanium white, which makes the color more and more saturated. A little magenta, and then a little umber green. My intention is to use the green to desaturate the orange color as a transition to the purple on the sides, but that doesn't work out as well as I thought. Red and green are, as you probably know, complementary colors that desaturate each other when mixed. That's exactly what they do, but the result is kinda muddy. First, let's freshen up the sun a bit with a mix of cadmium yellow, vermilion red and a lot of titanium white. Ah, that's better for my mood than the greenish mud I just did. By using a mix of violet grey, king's blue light and titanium white, I make the green a little more bearable. Actually, it looks quite good now, and it acts, as I initially intended, as a transition between the bright colors of the sun and the softer colors of the cloud bank on the sides. Of course, the colors of the reflections now also have to be adjusted. Although I'm happy with the colors I did yesterday, I feel the scene is not hazy enough yet. Time for a glaze of transparent white, king's blue light and a pinch of magenta. With a mixture of umber green and Indian yellow-orange lake extra, the left side of the dune gets a warm glow. In a situation like this, all colors are influenced by the low sun. And so are the waves. The bottom of the painting should be a bit darker to create a greater sense of space. That's why I'm applying a glaze of indigo, umber green and lots of liquid. I've decided to limit the details to the area around the sun. I'm afraid that if I were to paint more details in the water, such as foam edges and the like, I would lose the vastness and tranquility of the scene. I think it has something to it, a strip in the middle where the action is, contrasted by the largest part of the painting with only soft color transitions. What do you think?